What's up, everybody watching on YouTube? Now, this video is going to be based on the announcement that Blizzard Entertainment made yesterday regarding Hearthstone, which is going to be undergoing some significant changes come this spring with the Kraken update, as it's going to be called. Now, I wanted to do a piece-by-piece review of what the Kraken update is going to entail and my overall opinion of it. So, let's get on with it, because it's actually a pretty significant list of things that they will be changing and how this is going to affect players. Let's start off here. One of the very first significant changes coming to Hearthstone, and which I feel is very long overdue, is the addition of 9 new custom deck slots. This will give us a lot more versatility when creating our decks, because often when I'm playing, I want to test out new decks, and I find myself deleting decks that I just don't want to delete simply because I don't have enough space. So this change is very welcome. This leads us into the next part, though, which is 2 ranked play modes, which could affect the 9 additional deck slots. So let's get on that and we'll continue with this discussion. Now, with the addition of 9 new custom deck slots, giving us a total of 18, comes the addition of another play mode. The 2 new play modes are going to be titled Wild Mode, which is the current meta we know now. Basically no changes whatsoever to that. You'll be able to use any card at any period of time. And the addition of one of, if not the most significant change in Hearthstone to date in this game, Standard Mode. Now, what entails Standard Mode? Standard Mode will be a ranked play mode, which is going to now be the form of esport that Hearthstone uses, minus Goblins and Gnomes and Naxxramas cards. Now, this is going to make a significant change to the meta, because if you think about it, what cards are going to be taken out of the meta in Standard Mode by eliminating Goblins versus Gnomes and Naxxramas? There will be no more Dr. Boom. There will be no more Piloted Shredder. There will be no more Lotheb. You really sit back and think about it, that is going to be huge changes. And it is a good way to get newer players into the game, because it's very difficult for newer players to jump right into Hearthstone with so many expos being released. And I guess this is the way of card games. So this is a good change, I think. But by limiting Standard Mode as the only mode you can use in esports, I also think limits the community. I think they should have 2 modes of esport play with Hearthstone, using the Wild Mode and the Standard Mode. This would help expand the community instead of condensing it into one thing. I mean, why not have 2 tournaments at BlizzCon, Wild and Standard? It just makes sense to me instead of limiting your options at this point in time. Now, also, I would like to point out with this, Goblins and Gnomes cards and the Naxxramas Adventure will no longer be purchasable after the Kraken update. So, if you don't own certain cards from those expansions and you're looking to play Wild Mode, I suggest getting onto it and getting some of those cards now before they are removed entirely from the game. Now, I don't think this was exactly a popular decision. So, Blizzard kind of softened the blow by saying previously non-craftable cards from adventure modes such as Naxxramas will become craftable. You will still be able to craft GVG cards with Arcane Dust. Okay, but that Arcane Dust is extremely valuable to us, and when you're constantly releasing more adventure modes and giving us more packs, we're going to want to use that dust towards that, I would imagine. So, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with totally removing it in general. Now, if you want to play the adventure mode, you will still be able to play it if you own it. So, here's how it goes. If you own Wing 1 of an adventure mode prior to it being taken out of the game, you'll still be able to play it once Kraken is out. So, having Naxxramas now, prior to that, even just Wing 1, you'll still be able to go through the whole adventure. It's a great adventure. I suggest trying it. See what happens. Guys, let me know in the comments section what you think about this particularly, because this is one of the largest changes to this game to date. We'll just have to see how it goes. Now, let's get on to another change that's going to come out through Kraken mode, or the Kraken patch, as it's like called. with the addition of the Kraken patch, is going to be another adventure mode. Now, what Blizzard does with adventure modes is anybody's guess, because after the release of the Grand Tournament, also known as the Argent Tournament, as I would like to call it, because it was clearly based off the Argent Tournament in World of Warcraft, I thought it was the perfect lead into Icecrown Citadel, where we'd finally get to use the adventure mode, play our way through ICC, fight Arthas, and unlock the Death Knight hero class in Hearthstone. But it didn't go that way. We ended up with League of Explorers, which seemed to come totally out of the blue for me. And I think a lot of other people tend to agree with that. So, where they go is anybody's guess, but I'm going to use the information we have available to us to guess what it is. Being that it's called the Kraken patch, I'm going with an underwater expansion. I mean, if we're lucky, it would be pretty sick to have Eye of Ashara and a Naga adventure mode. It's just the clues we have available to us, and we have to use them. I mean, there's not that much involving the Naga at this point in the game, so I guess it would make sense in the first year, since they don't seem ready to give us new hero classes or anything like that. So, with the new adventure mode, I'm going to go with an underwater theme. You guys let me know in the comment what you think it is, but right now this is just all speculation. On to the next part. Now, there's also been some other changes the developers have considered making at this time. One of them being changes to basic and classic cards, and now they're finally going to be doing it. They said for a while they have been trying to reevaluate certain class cards, and it looks like the changes are going to be coming. Now, more information is going to be available down the line in regards to what they're doing, but the developers specifically at this point in time referenced the Druid class. Now, I can agree that some changes need to be made to the Druid class, because Forces of Nature and Savage Roar, I mean, though I guess a lot of people like playing that deck, I find it quite obnoxious. It's very hard to play around that, and I do think some changes need to be made to make the class more versatile. They really have only had one deck for an extended period of time, so I'm welcome to these changes. And I'm interested to see what other changes they're going to make to the other class cards and basic cards. It's going to be very interesting to see. We don't know yet, but time will tell. Guys, let me know in the comment section what cards you think need changing from certain classes. This should be very interesting as time develops. Now, let's sum this all up. Okay, now let's sum this entire thing up. There's clearly a significant number of changes coming to Hearthstone, and in general, I think they're pretty good. This is going to develop new players coming into the game, but you also have to appeal to your hardcore players, and this is key on why I think they should do Wild and Standard in tournament modes, and keep it that way. This was a comment from Blizzard Entertainment. When we release the first new expansion of each year, every set that wasn't released in the same year or the year prior will cycle out and no longer be part of the standard format. So, all the cards that we have now are going to be basically cycled out of tournament play mode, and that just doesn't, I don't know, that just doesn't sit right with me. I think they should maintain it with all the cards and maintain it with the newer cards. If you could balance that, I'm completely okay with it. That seems like a good way of freshening the game up. Now, when it comes to new adventure modes, clearly we're going to be getting those from here till the end of Hearthstone. That's a great thing. I love when they're adding new content to the game now. With that, I just wish they wouldn't do it in spring. For fuck's sake, we have Overwatch, and then we have Legion coming very shortly after, so it's going to be a whole block of content. I just wish it was done a little bit sooner. The 18 deck slots that we're going to have at this point in time, it's great. I hope they add a few more, because that's 9 for Standard in my opinion, and 9 for Wild. I mean, I'm not going to use them solely for one version of ranked play, since you are able to achieve Legend through both of these. So, with all these changes, guys, I would really like to know what you guys think in the comment section. This is a big deal for this game and possibly a turning point in the game. A lot of these things are the way that card games go, but it's certainly going to keep things interesting. So guys, let me know in the comment section if you enjoy what I'm doing here. A like or a sub is greatly appreciated. It really helps. I'm going to keep my eye on this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day or night wherever you are.